Welcome to the channel Cucuy, where nightmares don't wait for bedtime. These aren't just stories, they're warnings. 3 tales, 1 chance to look away. But you probably won't, because it's already watching. The shadow of Anneliese Michel. In a quiet town nestled within West Germany, a young woman named Anneliese Michel began to suffer. Her ordeal would soon blur the lines between the tangible and the unseen. It challenged the very definitions of illness and evil. What unfolded in the heart of Bavaria would ignite a fierce debate. It pitted the certainties of medical science against the ancient doctrines of faith. The tragic events culminated in a courtroom and a coffin. The year was 1975. Anneliese Michel was just 23 years old, a devout Catholic known for her soft-spoken nature and kindness. Yet for years, she had been battling a profound internal struggle. She had received diagnoses of temporal lobe epilepsy and severe depression. Despite consistent medication and medical care, her condition steadily worsened. She began to hear disembodied voices, whispering that she was damned. Terrifying demonic faces would appear to her, distorting her reality. Her behavior grew increasingly disturbing. She refused to eat, claiming an unseen force prevented her. She would consume insects and even drink her own urine. Her family watched helplessly as she withered away. Doctors maintained their diagnosis of psychosis, a severe mental illness. However, Anneliese and her family held a different, more terrifying conviction. They believed something far darker had taken root within her. Desperate for a solution beyond the medical realm, Anneliese's family sought the intervention of the church. After careful consideration, 2 priests, Father Arnold Renz and Father Ernst Alt, received permission from the local bishop to perform an exorcism. This was a rare and grave decision. What followed was an agonizing ordeal spanning 10 months. A total of 67 exorcism sessions were conducted, each one a harrowing confrontation. Some of these sessions were captured on audio recordings, preserving chilling evidence of the events. During these intense rituals, Anneliese claimed to be possessed by not one, but a multitude of malevolent entities. She identified them as Lucifer, Judas Iscariot, Nero, Cain, and even Adolf Hitler. Her voice would dramatically shift, deepening into guttural growls. She screamed in languages unknown to her, contorted her body violently, and hurled vulgar insults at the priests. These blasphemous outbursts shocked everyone present. The entities within her seemed to mock and challenge the sacred rites. One voice, claiming to be Lucifer, declared, "I am Lucifer, the ruler of this world." Another chillingly asserted, "She belongs to us." The taunts continued, "You priests are nothing." The air in the room was thick with an oppressive, unseen presence. The exorcism sessions were grueling, both for Anneliese and for those attempting to help her. Her physical health deteriorated at an alarming rate. She continued to refuse food, insisting the demons would not allow her to eat. Her body became a canvas of suffering. Her knees were shattered and bruised from countless hours of compulsive genuflection, a desperate act of piety. By the final week of her life, Anneliese weighed less than 70 pounds. Her emaciated frame was a stark testament to her torment. On July 1st, 1976, Anneliese Michel died. The official cause of death was listed as malnutrition and dehydration. Her passing brought an end to her suffering, but it ignited a firestorm of controversy. The case of Anneliese Michel quickly became a national media sensation. Her parents and the 2 priests involved in the exorcism were charged with negligent homicide. The trial captivated Germany, drawing intense public scrutiny. The defense argued vehemently that Anneliese was genuinely possessed by demonic forces. They claimed the exorcism was a necessary spiritual intervention. The prosecution, however, maintained she was a mentally ill young woman who had been tragically neglected. The court ultimately found the priests guilty of negligent homicide. They received suspended sentences, a verdict that satisfied neither side completely. The parents were also found guilty but were spared punishment. To this day, the debate surrounding Anneliese Michel rages on. Was she failed by a medical system that couldn't comprehend her spiritual torment? Or was she claimed by something truly supernatural, beyond human understanding? Her grave in Klingenberg has become an unlikely pilgrimage site for some. Many believe she was a martyr, a victim of an unseen war. Others view her story as a profound tragedy rooted in religious extremism and a misunderstanding of mental illness. What remains undeniable is that something horrific transpired in that quiet Bavarian town. The events continue to haunt those who witnessed them, leaving an indelible mark on body, mind, and soul. Anneliese Michel's story stands as a chilling testament to the fragile boundary between faith, science, and the terrifying unknown. South Africa, 1906. In the dense green hills of Natal at a remote Christian mission school, the unthinkable unfolded. A chilling tale began to weave itself into the fabric of history, a story whispered in hushed tones for generations. A teenage girl, intelligent, devout, and well-liked, began to change. Her name was Clara Germana Cele, and what took hold of her soul would leave witnesses shaken for the rest of their lives. This was not a simple illness, but something far more sinister. Clara was just 16 years old when it began. A student at St. Michael's Mission, she had converted to Christianity just a few years earlier, embracing her new faith with fervent devotion. Her life seemed destined for quiet piety within the mission's peaceful confines. But something happened, a dark secret she carried in her heart. One night, Clara confessed in a whisper that she had secretly made a pact with Satan. She didn't remember when or how the insidious agreement had been forged, only that something dark now lived inside her. Then the manifestations began, escalating with terrifying speed. Clara began speaking in multiple languages, Latin, Polish, German, none of which she had ever studied or even heard spoken. Her voice would shift, becoming guttural and ancient, uttering phrases that chilled the blood of those who heard them. She displayed inhuman strength, a terrifying power that defied her slender frame. She threw nuns across the room with a single effortless motion, leaving them bruised and bewildered. Her eyes would blaze with an unholy light, filled with a malevolent intelligence that was not her own. She tore her own clothes to shreds, her body writhing in unnatural contortions. She growled like a wild animal, a sound that echoed through the quiet mission halls, filling them with primal fear. Then came the most shocking display. She began levitating, rising 5 feet above the ground in front of dozens of terrified witnesses. Eyewitnesses reported a profound aversion to all things sacred. Her skin burned at the touch of holy water, blistering and smoking as if touched by fire. She would hiss and contort when shown a crucifix, recoiling as if in excruciating pain. The very presence of a blessed object seemed to torment the entity within her. One nun reported that Clara could recount people's darkest sins, secrets no one had ever confessed aloud. She would whisper intimate transgressions, details that only the individual and God could know. This chilling ability shattered any doubt that a malevolent force was at play. The entity within her spoke with a voice of pure hatred. "He is inside me now," it snarled through Clara's lips, "and he hates your God." This declaration left no room for misinterpretation. A battle for her very soul was underway. The church responded quickly, recognizing the gravity of the situation. 2 Roman Catholic priests, Father Erasmus and Father Mansuet, were appointed to carry out the exorcism. They arrived prepared for a spiritual war, armed with ancient rituals and unwavering faith. The exorcism began, a grueling ordeal that lasted 2 full days. Non-stop prayers, holy rituals, and the desperate pleas of the priests filled the air. Clara's voice alternated between guttural snarls and high-pitched screeches, a terrifying symphony of torment and defiance. She would spit, laugh hysterically, and call herself Legion, a chilling reference to the biblical account of a multitude of demons. The air grew heavy with an oppressive presence, a palpable evil that seemed to press down on everyone in the room. Witnesses described her body bending in impossible ways, her limbs twisting at unnatural angles. Objects flew across the room, hurled by an unseen force, crashing against walls and shattering windows. Yet through all the chaos and violence, her eyes remained unnervingly open, never blinking, fixed with an unholy stare. The priests pressed on, their voices hoarse from constant prayer, their faces streaked with sweat and exhaustion. The entity fought back with increasing ferocity, unleashing a torrent of blasphemies and threats. The mission, once a sanctuary of peace, became a battleground for a soul. At the climax of the ritual, the entity made one final desperate stand. Clara reportedly broke free of her restraints, defying the strength of several men. She then levitated horizontally for several minutes, suspended in the air, a horrifying spectacle of demonic power. Everyone in the room fell silent, gripped by a profound terror. Then a deep scream that rattled the very walls of the mission. It was a sound of pure agony, a final desperate shriek that seemed to tear the fabric of reality. Clara collapsed to the floor, her body limp and still. Her eyes rolled back, and then, miraculously, her voice returned to normal. When she awoke, she had no memory of what had happened. The 2 days of torment, the unholy manifestations, the battle for her soul were all erased from her conscious mind. She was Clara again, quiet and unassuming, as if nothing had ever transpired. Clara went on to live a quiet life, forever marked by an event she could not recall. The church documented the event in its records, a chilling testament to the unseen world. But much of it remains hidden, locked away from public scrutiny. The priests, nuns, and students who witnessed the exorcism were forever changed, their faith tested, their understanding of reality shattered. This was no illness. I have seen illness. This was something else. So stated Sister Marie, an eyewitness whose words echoed the profound disturbance felt by all who were present. Her testimony, like many others, spoke of an encounter with an evil beyond human comprehension. Was Clara mentally ill? Was it a religious hysteria born of isolation and fear, a psychological breakdown manifesting in terrifying ways? Or did she truly open a door that should never be opened, inviting an ancient darkness into the world? Whatever the truth, one thing remains. In a quiet mission school at the edge of the world, something ancient and evil may have walked among us. The Vatican has never publicly released the full report of Clara Germana Cele's exorcism, leaving the chilling details shrouded in mystery and speculation. The silence itself speaks volumes, a testament to the profound and unsettling nature of what transpired. The demon next door. In the quiet town of West Pittston, Pennsylvania, a seemingly ordinary family home became the epicenter of an extraordinary terror. This duplex, once a promise of peace, was allegedly transformed into a prison of fear. This is the chilling account of the Smurl haunting and the alleged demonic force that tormented a family for over 15 years. Jack and Janet Smurl were an average working-class couple. In 1973, they moved into the duplex with their 4 daughters and Jack's elderly parents. Initially, their new home offered the comfort and normalcy they expected. Soon after settling in, subtle disturbances began to manifest. Radios would inexplicably turn off by themselves. Footsteps echoed in empty rooms, and plumbing issues arose with no discernible cause. These minor anomalies were merely the prelude to something far more sinister. The events escalated with terrifying speed. A dark, foul odor, described as rotting meat, would permeate the house, moving from room to room. Furniture would violently shake, and walls began to bleed a black, viscous substance. The very structure of their home seemed to turn against them. Jack Smurl reported being pulled from his bed by unseen hands. Janet was violently pushed against walls by an invisible force. The family's sense of security was systematically dismantled, replaced by a creeping dread. The physical attacks grew increasingly horrifying. Janet claimed she was sexually assaulted by an invisible entity. Jack reported experiencing similar assaults, adding another layer of unspeakable violation to their ordeal. Their family dog was violently thrown against a wall. Their daughters, too, were not spared. They would cry out, describing shadow figures that stared at them from the corners of their rooms. The Smurls found themselves trapped, terrified, and utterly helpless against an unseen adversary that seemed determined to destroy them. Desperate for help, and after the church initially dismissed their claims, the Smurls turned to two of the most well-known demonologists in the country, Ed and Lorraine Warren. This was the same couple who had investigated the infamous Amityville case and whose work would later inspire the Conjuring films. Their reputation preceded them, bringing a glimmer of hope to the tormented family. The Warrens, after their initial investigations, declared the home to be the site of a powerful demonic infestation. According to Lorraine Warren, the entity was not a mere ghost or residual energy. She asserted it was a true demon, a malevolent force that fed on fear and thrived on chaos. Lorraine Warren was quoted as saying, "This thing was not a ghost. It was a demon, and it wanted to destroy the family." Ed Warren claimed to have recorded unexplained voices and significant temperature drops during their visits. He even reported witnessing a dark mass form in front of him, only to vanish into a wall during one particularly intense investigation. Despite numerous prayers, blessings, and multiple interventions by the Warrens and other clergy, the malevolent entity remained. Its grip on the Smurl home seemed unbreakable. In a final desperate measure, the church finally approved a full exorcism in 1986. For a brief period, the house went quiet. The family experienced a fragile peace, a momentary reprieve from the relentless torment. However, this calm was tragically short-lived. Just months later, the dark force returned, allegedly stronger and more aggressive than ever before. The Smurls' hope was shattered once more. Exhausted, financially ruined and emotionally broken, the Smurls finally moved out of the duplex in 1988. They claimed the haunting followed them for a time, even to their new residences. Their ordeal had consumed over a decade of their lives. Yet, the Smurl case has long been a subject of intense scrutiny and skepticism. Critics have questioned the veracity of their claims, proposing alternative explanations. Was it a case of shared mental illness, or perhaps mass hysteria? Could it have been an elaborate fabrication, designed for attention or financial gain? Neighbors reported hearing and seeing nothing unusual during the alleged haunting. The church, despite approving an exorcism, never officially recognized the events as a demonic haunting. These inconsistencies fuel the debate surrounding the Smurl case. Despite the skepticism and the lack of official recognition, the Smurls steadfastly maintained their story until the very end. They collaborated with the Warrens on a book detailing their harrowing experiences, and their claims never wavered. Their conviction remained unshaken even in the face of public doubt. True or not, the Smurl haunting remains one of the most disturbing and debated cases of alleged possession and demonic oppression in US history. A home meant to bring comfort and security instead became a brutal battleground between light and something far darker. The Smurl family claimed the entity tormented them for over 15 years. To this day, the house still stands, a silent monument to a terrifying past, but no one speaks of what truly happened there. Still here. You made it through this time. But the channel Cucuy isn't done with you. He feeds on curiosity. And you're already hooked. Subscribe before he finds someone else.